Do it. Do it. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Must really do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay. We've got 2 comments in here
Already.
Oh, no.
We've got 2 comments in here. They say pretty much the same thing.
I love Matt Davidson.
Seth Jacob and Hokey Skur 19.
Hokey Skur.
Hokey Skur.
Okay.
Who's going to be the one to say what really happened to Cooper?
Oh, boy.
It
ain't gonna be us.
I mean,
I mean, there are rumors out there. All you have to do is get on the Twitter sphere, and if you read those rumors, it's Nebraska Twitter. So take them how you feel.
Yeah, I think that's, Mike, you said it in the best way possible. I think, again, it was in a separate message, but it was one of those things that, like, anyone with eyes and Twitter can see what's being said. We don't have the answers. We don't have what you want to hear. And even if we did, frankly, it's really not our business to be sharing. What I can tell you is
boring.
What I can tell you is he's gone. And I can tell you that I am very excited for Coach Butler.
Yes.
I am.
Now, so was that Hokey Skur that asked that?
Yeah.
Hokey Skur.
Is that a Virginia Tech?
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Heck, I have a soft spot for Virginia Tech.
I know you do.
Okay. Hokey Skur. You have common sense. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know you that well. I think this might be the first time he's commented on one of our videos.
I've never seen it. So
Never heard that name.
yeah.
Just, hey, Hokey
We
Skur.
appreciate you being here.
Hokey Skur. Without saying what happened, or really even insinuating, just think for like 5 seconds. I mean, you're a guy. I'm a guy. We're all guys here. big guy pod here.
Big guy pod.
A lot of sausage in here. A lot of what? Anyway. 53 days until kickoff. And, we get a
54, I thought.
Go on Husker Max. It says 53.
Okay, then I can't count.
I know. It's okay. It's with the whole, depends on the time of the game and all that stuff.
Okay.
Sure.
Was it just Hokey Skur that asked about that, or what did
He said there were 2 that were
yeah.
the same.
Seth Jacob also asked. He said, "Is someone going to be brave enough to say what happened to Coop?" Are you asking us that because you secretly know it already and you want us to just say it? Is that why?
I think,
Answer that question.
I think all you have to do is get on the internet.
Yeah.
And obviously Husker rumors and stuff are rumors. But
Yeah.
sometimes there's smoke where there's fire.
Hey, I'll just say this, right? If I was accused of something and you guys fired me from NBNR.
Not fired. If you resign.
Oh, resign.
Yeah, you resigned.
If you
He was
resign.
not
Thank
fired.
you. Thank you for that clarification. If I resign from NBNR, I would hope you guys wouldn't go talking about me without knowing for sure what happened.
Yeah.
You would extend me that courtesy, yes?
But
Yeah.
if we did know what happened, I'd tell you the next episode is all about you.
If Connor resigned, I'd be like, I'd have freaking flight logs on you, whatever the hell.
Flight log.
Flight logs. That's
Let's
right.
take it easy.
Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
take it
You
easy.
know what I'm saying.
So
It
it just sucks because Evan Cooper is literally Matt Rhule's guy. Like, that's his dude.
multiple times Matt Rhule has said, Evan Cooper is pretty much my right-hand man. He's my talent evaluator. He's my film expert. He's up at like 3 a.m. studying film on players.
Right.
And so it is very, I'm not going to say concerning because the news comes out on Friday and then right away, like
He's got a guy.
right away, he's got a guy.
It was not an accident that it happened so quickly. I think you'd be naive to think it was an accident. I think Matt Rhule knew what needed to be done and allowed for this little grace period, had the resignation, and already had his guy in the wings.
Yeah.
I think you'd be crazy to think
Did some
otherwise.
vetting.
Yeah, I think
Found out.
I think he had a couple weeks to find the guy that he was looking for. And I think Nebraska, they honestly got a little lucky that the guy that they stumbled upon in John Butler happened to be unemployed because he decided that he wanted to become the defensive coordinator for the Bills and he got passed up for that job. And he said, all right, well, I just think my time here is done. So he was just voluntarily unemployed. So everything just happened to work out really well for Matt Rhule.
So yeah, with the news about Cooper, of course, at first it was like, what the hell? This guy is supposed to be Rhule's guy, right? Said it multiple times. And then the hire's made. And so there wasn't really any time for us to come here and be like, oh, what happened? And like, besides those two asking us, it's like we haven't really thought about it because we have this guy now and we're doing our research on him. All right, what are the positives? What are the negatives? Like, we haven't really even thought about, oh crap, what did Coop do? It's like kind of on to the next.
We could talk about what did Coop do while he was here, and then if John Butler can fill those shoes.
So yeah, get into Evan Coop. Like, what are we gonna miss? What are we gonna miss?
I think what you're going to miss immediately is that what we talk about all the time. This staff, they all sound the same, right? Coop has been there since day one. Matt Rhule's even said in some other press conferences that he hopes down the road that, Coop is the head coach in Nebraska, right? He's even used that as an example. Yikes, right? So I think you're going to lose that, the connection,
continuity.
The continuity.
He's been with Rhule everywhere.
Yeah. And he has essentially groomed him. If you look at his resume, it doesn't look like John Butler's resume.
Nope.
But Matt Rhule coached this guy and made him into who he is. So he's coached him, I think, as a player and as a coach. And he was trying to groom him as to be something bigger, maybe a DC someday or a head coach or whatever. So you're losing that a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree that the continuity is a big deal. Losing that, especially at we're in kind of a dead season right now, but especially as the season looks, it's very much not. So bringing in Butler is going to be a big change as we are, a month and a half from the season. It'll be different. But again, you look at Butler as he comes in, you look at his resume at Penn State. He was regarded as one of the rising stars as a DB coach. Goes to the Texans, does fairly well.
I mean, he was the DC. He ended up finishing as the defensive coordinator at Penn State before he went to the Texans.
Yeah. He does well in Houston.
Yeah.
And then at Buffalo, he is, they say top 30%. There's no real direct ranking, but top 30% in the NFL. It's telling me you're either a top 10 or top 11 defensive backs coach. You're not losing anything in skill. I think the biggest part of it is that locker room presence from Cooper. I think that's the big part of it because those guys knew him. They were comfortable with him, and now they've got to kind of relearn that.
Again. A lot of these guys, again.
I think that's the biggest part that you're losing with Cooper resigning.
Yeah. And so BA hops in and he says, Coach Cooper was much more important to the program than a DB coach, in my opinion. Bummer he's out. Says Coop is one of the best recruiters on staff and he resonates with players so well. Mike is spot on though. Rhule has groomed this dude to become a DC. And what I'll say, Mike, is you mentioned the alignment from the top to the bottom and you're kind of going to miss some things there. But to be honest with you, I feel like under former head coach Scott, you would worry about you let somebody go, you bring somebody in. Is there going to be too many Indians in the kitchen? Yeah. Is it going to be a different vibe? What I say?
Too many Indians in the kitchen.
Oh, I got caught up on the Guardian Indian conversation last week. Too many women in the kitchen. Too many chiefs in the tribe. I mixed cooks in the kitchen and
chiefs
whatever.
In the tribe.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Too many wives in the kitchen. But
we knew what you meant.
He's a big fan of Indian food.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I don't think you worry about that with Matt Rhule just because ultimately that message comes from the top. He leads from the top. And he, like you said, he's groomed everybody to say the same things. He's taught everybody this is how I roll. So honestly, I feel like I'm more comfortable with him doing a plug and play situation than I would anybody else. So with Cooper, as a Husker fan that's been used and abused, such as myself and all of us, it's like you got Rhule that comes in and Rhule's bread and butter, the thing that he's made his college coaching on, is the evaluation of lower tiered recruits, right? And so that was Cooper's job. That was his thing. And so I think Audi's going somewhere in terms of the coaching and the recruiting and the talent evaluation. And so I think with Butler, what you might be losing in the talent evaluation and the recruiting, you're gaining in actual coaching.
Yes.
I'm not saying Cooper was a bad coach.
No one is.
But he's inexperienced compared to a guy who's been in the NFL for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's funny because most of the guys that Rhule has hired, they're always the young up-and-comers. Whereas this guy is
He's kind of a wily vet.
seasoned.
I mean, he's 51, though. He's not even that old for coaching standards either.
51 is young in D1 coaching.
That's what I'm saying. Like, shit, Tom Brady retired at almost 50. So, like, this guy is not old, but I mean, you're right. He's not an up-and-coming. He's not Rob Dvorak or whatever.
Yeah.
He is a seasoned coach.
Yeah. So I guess that's opens another argument, Jared. I don't mean to interrupt you. Is would you rather on this staff right now, seeing where Nebraska has been for the past 8 years, would you rather have a guy that you would consider an up-and-comer or have that proven talent? For me, it's an easy decision. I want proven talent now. And then as the program develops and gets better and better, then you start recruiting these younger coaches and, getting them through this system. But I think right now for Nebraska, what you need is proven talent. And I think that's what Butler is.
Yeah. Like if you're a skeptic of Rhule, like at first, when it came to the hires, it was, oh God, he's hiring
his buddies.
Garrett McGuire.
These young guys.
Garrett McGuire was the big one.
Right. Yeah. And
even Evan Cooper was like, oh, he's a young guy. Look at his record, like his track record.
There isn't one.
It doesn't exist.
So yeah, it's like I said, that's kind of where the difference is there. Dang. I forget where I was going to go.
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, Spencer Olson says, just tired of coaching changes every year. And I'm with that.
Tired of the bullshit.
With that.
We all are.
Yeah.
The revolving door sucks. The timing sucks because we just had the same shit happen last year with, what's his name?
Wager.
Yeah, Bob Wager. So
yeah,
it's just like, can we please just have an off season that's just no drama? We take care of business, and we're ready to fucking play football.
Well, yeah, and
like, what are we doing?
I know it's always just some bullshit. And the thing that I guess if we're getting the things that encourage us, he was with the Bills for like 6 years.
Yeah.
If you have an NFL job for more than like 3 years, it's like you must be doing something right. And so, and of course, you hear about how when he left the Bills, it was all positive stuff, right? Freaking Bills players were talking this dude up, and there was no animosity, no ill will from top down. It was, no, this dude's a really good guy. And there was a lot of Bills players that were like, I kind of wanted him to be my DC. So I get why he is leaving. And so that's also another encouraging thing. He didn't leave based off some bullshit, so.
Can I throw a wrench in things really quick?
Please, I love wrenches.
So we've got Bills players talking about how they want him as DC or would have wanted him as DC.
Right.
Why do you end up at Nebraska as a DB coach? Why is there not another D1 program that would be willing to take you in as a DC?
So
maybe there's like, I'm probably looking at this in a very weird way, but it feels like if he is that qualified, why here? Why that?
So
position?
I can answer
it's not
that
weird. It's a healthy thing to question.
No, I can answer that question. We were listening to the radio just like a little bit ago, and one of the guys came on that and was talking about the situation. He doesn't have an agent. And so when he withdrew from his position with Buffalo, he kind of bet on himself that there would be an opening somewhere. And it just never came open. Nothing came open. Like the right opportunity wasn't there. So I think with football kind of getting closer and closer and that call just never came, the opportunity, maybe calls came, but just that opportunity never came. Now he's like, well, shit, I got to get a job somewhere, right? I think he still wants to coach. So
it wasn't a lack of interest.
No, it wasn't a lack of interest. I think it was like a guy that was betting on himself. And he is one of the few coaches out there that doesn't have an agent. So you weren't getting those back in like wheel and deal kind of things of, well, I got this guy that's, ready to go coach here or whatever. Like he's betting on himself, negotiating himself, trying to make the right deal. So I think it just happened to work out that this happened to open up at Nebraska, and Matt Rhule probably just went through his pool of guys that were available, and he's like, "Yep, that's the one I want."
I just the cynical, skeptical guy in me is kind of like, well, look, if he was, and I'm not saying he's not, I'm just saying, if he's like this great defensive mind, right?
Yep.
And you're a coach out there, and maybe you could use an upgrade in your DC, find a way to get this dude hired, kind of thing, with, I know the whole agent thing. I just feel like in the whole world of sports that we've seen in the past decade, contracts don't mean shit. Agents, you can DM a coach and be like, "Hey, come coach for me." I just feel like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's like a good excuse because he didn't have an agent. I don't know.
I don't know. We go back to, I don't remember who commented it, but Mike brought up the revolving door. I mean, with players and with coaches, that is the nature of college football now. Yeah, everything is a revolving door.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you can say it sucks. That is what it is. So that's why I'm confused that a guy with this kind of resume ends up as a DB coach. I mean, obviously, Nebraska didn't need a new DC. Tony White, dog. But like,
that's the thing.
But that's the thing. They might
how do you
need
end
a DC.
up at? Well, not yet. And so I guess that's a larger question. Is, do you think this is a play that if Nebraska's defense ends up? We already talked about. I believe Kyle brought it up a few weeks ago about how Nebraska's defense will likely regress over the season, not due to a regression in talent, but due to a harder schedule. And maybe Tony White leaves and gets a head coaching job. Is Butler being brought in as a DB coach as a potential DC replacement?
And that's something that Mike and I talked about on our way to the golf event this morning. And that was like, I trusted Matt Rhule.
Timmer.
But I would certainly hope that there isn't a conversation where it's like, well, we might need a DC. So, hey, let's bring you in for the DB's coach position. And like, we'll get you into the DC spot when he leaves. And like, you start promising things to people and like having conversations like that, whether that's players, coaches, it starts to build. You've got too many promises out. Like there's a lot of things you gotta keep up on.
I don't think it's a promise though. I think it was just like, if you look at what's going on in Nebraska and you look at Tony White, who potentially, he's openly said he wants to become a head coach someday.
Sure.
And Matt Rhule has said he's going to become a head coach someday. It's one of those guys. He's been a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten. This will be now his third stint in the Big Ten. The guy's already been the CEO of a defense. So, I mean, it's not a hard sell to be like, hey, if this guy leaves, the opportunity could be there here, unlike it was in Buffalo.
There are two different ways you could look at that, right? You could look at it kind of like Kyle's way, where you're making these promises that might not come to fruition. But then, like, what if it does happen? What if Tony White does leave? Then it's Matt Rhule is a genius because he hired this guy and he had the foresight to recognize that he might need a defensive coordinator. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I feel like Nebraska still needs to prove itself defensively by being consistent, right? Like, it's great that you're a top 15 last year and your defensive line looks really awesome. But Dallas playing shitty Big Ten offenses
all year.
Can you do a top 15, top 20 thing again? Be consistent. Because even if you do regress a little bit, Tony White's still going to probably leave. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at as a fan. I'm assuming Tony White's gone. That's just me. I don't know about you guys.
Especially with this hire. I feel like that's almost, it makes it even more of a sure thing. I feel like hiring a coach like this that has the experience and the background that he does, it almost is like, I think Matt Rhule has pretty much said, like, Tony White will be a head coach. And I am ready for it. I am prepared for it.
I think without a massive regression in defense, like if they finish top 30, I would be shocked if Tony White was still at Nebraska at the start of next season. I would be shocked.
I still wonder what job would be the right one though, because UCLA is alma mater. They hired somebody else, right?
San Diego
Syracuse,
State.
they hired someone else. San Diego State, they hired someone else. What job is? I mean, I guess there's jobs open every year. It's just like, I think it still has to be the right job, because like those jobs are good jobs, like especially linked to Tony White. So like, if he didn't leave Nebraska for those ones, what job is he going to leave Nebraska for?
I don't know.
Mike, I think you made a really good point there, though. Job openings every year are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Tony White knows that next year there are going to be openings, and there might be a better. And, you know, if he turned down Syracuse, San Diego State, all these others, he is looking for something that wasn't there. I think while USC is now a Big Ten team, I think he is looking for like a power 2 coaching position. San Diego State and Syracuse just didn't fit that.
I don't want to get too huge into where's Tony White going to go. Yeah. But I will ask you guys, let's just assume that, oh my God, his name is so generic that I just forget
tough.
it. Yeah. Butler.
Yeah.
John Butler.
Let's just assume John Butler does take over. 3-3-5 still? Like, how does that work? Like, what's the scheme? What's the is there continuity? Is it a complete?
I don't know. And that'd be something I'd like to research, or maybe if someone who's in the chat could do a little digging. But like, what type of defense did he run at Penn State? I will say that Tony White's defense is a multiple 3-3-5. Right. I know that coaching the secondary shouldn't change too much. And you would think a guy that's seasoned like he is, I think he's very familiar with coaching the 3-3-5.
And of course, 3-3-5 is a catch-all umbrella term.
Yeah, it's your base and everything else. I mean, if you want all that stuff, go listen to Coach BA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just based on Rhule and everything, and we talk about the same message and everything else, I think they'd be consistent at running the same defense.
Timmer. Rustin Matt Rhule.
Timmer.
I guess like I kind of address this with the whole like talent evaluation of Cooper versus the coaching ability of holy shit, Butler. God.
John Butler.
JB.
It's like Billy Butler, but John.
Stop.
Now you won't forget it though.
Fucking Royals.
Now you won't forget.
Okay, stop. Now, because now you got me all flustered. Billy Butler. Cardinals killer. People are like a little skeptical, right? Because how good at recruiting is this Butler guy, right? And here's where I'm at. It's 2024. If you coach good, you'll win more. If you win more, you'll have better players that want to come.
And recruiting gets easier.
So, like, as good as Cooper was at talent evaluation, hopefully Butler can make up for that with his coaching ability and lead to actual wins. Because how long have we talked about this guy's a good recruiter? This guy gets good players in here. This guy's a 4-star, etc. But it doesn't translate to dubs.
Yeah.
So can he just be a very good coach, and then the good players will come as a result?
I mean, look at everything you've seen since Matt Rhule's been here and all of his assistant coaches. It doesn't seem like they're super suave and like, you know, they don't have the swag and all this other stuff. You've got Ed Foley traveling the whole state talking to kids. It's about effort. It's not about swag and everything like that. Just get out there and talk to these kids and make sure you're talking to them frequently.
Wait, Kyle, are you saying that you don't need Louis and Lambos to recruit good players?
It's a thought.
just Indians in the kitchen. That's what you need.
I will say, like, they're on the defensive side, I think, like, our outside of, like, you know, we've had some woes with linebackers over the last year and a half. But the secondary has been something that we've questioned.
It is, yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say is like,
hopefully he's a good coach.
It's not like the secondary's exactly been gangbusters.
Yeah. So, while I hope Evan Cooper, you know, still has a successful career, maybe Butler is a welcome transition into something new.
Yeah. I hope that I'm sure Matt Rhule is going to be asked about it at Big Ten Media Days in a couple weeks. And I'll be interested to see what he says about it.
I'm just the thing that encourages me is this thing wasn't allowed to fester, right? Like Matt Rhule acted as a fire extinguisher, if you will, put out the fire.
As what he did with Trev when Trev left. He was literally the biggest fire extinguisher in the state of Nebraska.
And
he's
so
like, I ain't going nowhere.
And it's like people asking, why did he resign? It's like, I also don't care. Like, whatever it is, it's probably, not cool, right? It's like, what do I have to gain from knowing that? It's like John Billy Butler is here. It's like, I've moved on. Let's win some fucking games, please. Let's coach our guys on the field. Hey, guys in the locker room, I know you probably like Evan Cooper, okay? But he fucked up somehow. He did something.
Whatever it
probably.
was.
But he's gone. So this Butler guy that the Bills players loved for 6 years, he was there for 6 years for a reason, because he was doing a damn good job.
Coaching all pros.
Be coachable like him, okay? And win some damn games.